Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games and a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2017. I am now in week 20 of competition. It's New Year's Day, 2024. Now playing in Conference T, I have just wrapped up the non-conference schedule with an 8-3 record. You saw most of those games in the last episode, but after the conclusion of that, here's how we wrapped up the non-conference schedule. So we had losses at much higher ranked Nevada, and then our in-city rival Portland State pulled off the win as well, even though there were only a couple divisions ahead of us. But otherwise, we won very comfortably at home against South Florida and by 20 against Youngstown State. So with that, we head into the conference schedule with that 8-3 record looking pretty good. But I've seen before a strong non-conference start result in a difficult regular season. But that was also starting with a number of road games against difficult teams. Here we have Abilene Christian at home, and for the first time, they're actually only 4-7 this year. They've been a top team, a thorn in our side for a number of seasons here, as they've been in the same conference as us repeatedly. They started in that bottom conference as well, if I remember correctly. But we've got a much better chance, especially playing them at home, to start this season off. All right, in terms of recruiting, it's still just Maxie Davis, but I'll give you an update on how the other stages of recruiting have gone after we get through this first game, because we're going to be watching the Abilene Christian game here in just a moment. In terms of RPI, we still have a very solid 53rd rank in the whole nation. We were in the just outside the top 30 there for a little bit before having those difficult road games, and those couple losses dropped us back down. But that's a solid RPI as we head into the regular season. And if we have a good conference season, I could definitely see us playing in either the NIT or possibly, if we win the conference, playing in the NCAA. Of course, that's the only way that we're going to get in there. All right, no injuries incurred so far this season, so we still have the same starting lineup that we had at the beginning of the year. And as is par for the course, I will be moving quickly through this game. We get off to a slow start. We were down 7-0. But we fired our way back and take a 10-8 lead. So we go on a 12-1 run after that slow start. Just a 4-point lead as we approach the halfway mark to the first half, but we're beginning to stretch out a little bit. Now 23-14. As we get things going. Aki Collins not on the score chart, but he's got 5 assists already. Neely with 10 points. Jennings with 8. Kevin Cole also has 8 points there. A lot of turnovers, but we are stretching that lead out as we approach halftime. It is 49-32 at the half. So it's looking like we're going to start the conference schedule off with a pretty comfortable win. Neely and Jennings both in double digits now. Jennings also adding 6 rebounds. Even Daniel Earl's getting into the game at this point. Well, I guess he is the backup center. 6 assists now for Collins, 5 points to go with it. But 4 turnovers. He certainly could be doing better than that, and better than a 2 for 8 shooting day. But there's Neely with 17 points, 7 of 8 shooting. He's having himself a day. With just 4 minutes left, we were up 73-46. We're going to very easily win this one. And outside of 9 rebounds and 8 rebounds from the post players here, and them in double-digit figures, we seem to be in total domination of this game. 81-58 is the final. We grabbed 40 rebounds to their 32. We had 8 blocks in the game, 11 steals, forced 19 turnovers, giving up just 12. While we only shot 43% from the field, Abilene Christian managed to only shoot 36% from the field. So there's a real difference right there. And we grabbed 6 3-pointers in the game as well. So that all led towards the eventual victory. All right, good start to the conference schedule. The next 3 games are all on the road, though, so we're going to need to make sure we're able to grab 1 or 2 wins here on the road to maintain a decent start to the conference schedule. First up is South Alabama on the road. They are just 4-8, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe this is the first time that I'll have ever played South Alabama. And we do pick up the win, our 10th of the season and our second conference win. So good performance there. Next up is North Fairfield, also on the road, but they are just 5-8. The necessary win has already come. So if we can go plus 500 in this 3-game road trip, that would be a pretty solid start to the year. Now you can see in terms of stats, we are starting to pull ahead in a number of areas. Charles George is the league leader in rebounds and blocks, and Aki Collins is the league leader in assists. So we are definitely showing our mettle. Charles George here, 8.2 rebounds per game, 1.5 steals per game, 3.1 blocks per game. He's putting up some really solid numbers there. And Clifton Jennings alongside him, getting 11.5 points per game. We have a pretty spread scoring, which is one reason why we don't tend to lead in that category very often. Now, on to recruiting to get that checkup. I did drop a couple players off the list, but Blevins and Drexler continue to be the ones that's struggling. And I've actually gotten Blevins to do the give me 5 minutes of your time and get the low interest to still have it not show up. So Blevins is probably going to be out. The only reason why I haven't dropped him is the only other option at his position is Scales. And what I went ahead and did was I decided let's just go ahead and offer a scholarship to Scales and see what happens, because Blevins is just not responding at all. So with Scales, the next guy, I've gone ahead and offered him that scholarship. So we'll check in with him and the status of that in a second. You can see that the interest still isn't that high, so not a terribly good sign. But let me go ahead and set my... let's see, we'll just watch film this week on you guys, as I've scouted you live many times. And I don't need these point guards, but here we'll scout Scales, Drexler, and Gibson live this time. There we go. Now, on to the calls and getting a chance to look a little bit closer at these guys. So Williams, we are still nowhere near his top 10 with just low interest. I would love to offer a scholarship to Williams, but throughout this period, it's all been just evaluation, so I haven't had a chance to visit him. I will definitely take that opportunity once it is given to me. Let's see if we can't move him up the list. Hansen, meanwhile, had moved from 4th to 3rd and spent the last 2-3 weeks since the end of the last episode and in 3rd, and now you can actually see he's now moved up to 2nd. So Damian Hansen continues to have us move up his list. And I think there's a good chance that he will sign pretty soon. But certainly no guarantees, as there is still at least one school above us on the list. But Hansen is looking likely that he will be in Olympic decathlon ring next season. All right, and here is Blevins, who keeps giving me the cold shoulder despite the fact that I do occasionally make that breakthrough with him, and we just slide right back off. So I am definitely ready to drop that player. But here is Scales, and here's the update on him. So we were 7th when I offered the scholarship. He still hasn't even actually visited the school. But when we're only 6th on that list, I'm afraid to click that button and lose him for the whole season. I want him to at least get up into that top 3 or 4 before attempting. So hopefully this will slowly climb up. But as of right now, it's only 6th. And Drexler's the other one that I still, week after week, I can't get anything from him. Even though he did come for a visit a while back and we had some interest. But after that, he didn't care for us and hasn't ever since. So Drexler's probably going to get dropped here at some point as well. Just looking at some other players, McCutcheon, it's a point guard, so he's probably going to go. I did delete a couple of the point guards off the list, but not all of them. We are 5th on his list. And for Johnny Perry, we are 3rd on his list, which is pretty solid. But he is way down at the bottom of the list. In terms of recruits, he's outside of the top 1,000. So he's the last one there, and that's why he hasn't been offered a scholarship. All right, getting back to it. 2 road games this week. It's going to be difficult to get one or even both wins. But we've got a decent shot here with North Fairfield, who is a below 500 school. And we do get the win, 11-3, 3-0 in conference. But here is Emmitsburg, 10-4 on the road. I can't see us winning this one, but coming out 2-1 on this road trip will make a very solid start to our season. We have cracked the top 50 in RPI, which is something I haven't seen much of at all down in these lower conferences. So we are having ourselves a solid season to start off with. And we do drop that game on the road. We dropped to 11-4, but with a 3-1 conference record, I really like my chances so far this season, as 3 of those 4 games were on the road. Jersey City is up next. They're a tough team, 10-5. Overall, they're only 1 game behind us, but we are at home. But this should be at the start of next week's games. We are undefeated at home so far in the season. And if we can hold suit and beat Jersey City, that would be fantastic. Okay, nothing but scouting reports here. Really hope to see that second recruit here real soon, specifically in Hansen. If Scales surprised us, that'd be nice too. But I think Hansen is getting pretty close to giving his verbal. Okay, still just evaluation period, so nothing new, nothing fancy going on. I'm gonna scout these last 2 guys on the list. I'm not sure if I've been to see them yet in person. All right, call list. I've got my 2 guys to call, just Blevins and Drexler with their 0 interest. And can't crack that nut. Those guys, pretty hard line against coming to my school. right, so Jersey City. It's a home game, but it's certainly not going to be a gimme. This is going to be a tough game for us to win. We are coming off of a loss, and that certainly plays a role, but we do pick up the win there at home. Next up is Utah Valley State on the road. They are just 6-10. This would be a great time to keep the momentum going and get back-to-back wins. We've had a lot of road games to start the conference schedule, so if we can come out, like say 5-1 at this point with 4 of 6 games on the road and more home games to come, we'd actually have a pretty decent chance at the conference. But we do not get that win. We do drop the game. We are 12-5 now, so not quite favorites at this point for the conference, but still pretty solid start at 4-2. Next up will be Loretto. They are 12-5, so they have identical records to us, but we're at home, and anytime we play at home, I like our chances.
You have new mail.
Okay, right back into the recruiting. Scales interest has gone up to a +3, so there's a good acknowledgement of the progress we're making. Williams, maybe I should go ahead and offer a scholarship and see if it doesn't start climbing. I could always retract it later, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with Williams this week. I'll get to that in a minute. Go ahead and scout him live then. And we'll scout Scales. And with higher interest, let's see. No, he declined it. All right. Budget's down to 11,000, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. But that's a lot more than I'm used to having most seasons. I think that will get us through the rest of the year. So Williams, even though I'm not on his list, I'm going to go ahead and offer the scholarship. What's worst can happen? He turns us down? Well, that's kind of what we're facing already. I was just hoping to get as far as being able to visit him and boost it up first. Yeah, let's go ahead and offer. Okay, so Hansen, we are second on his list still. Oop, Blevins, I want to make that call. There we go. See, we've cracked that nut once again. I'm just going to talk to him for a bit. Maybe see if it helps develop a little bit of interest. Got a lot of information that we already had out of him. Okay, and Adam Scales, there you go. We've climbed up to 4th on his list now. So up a couple more spots. And 0 progress with Drexler, as has been par for the course for a long time. All right, so Scales, we've moved up to 4th. Hansen, we're at 2nd. And I went ahead and offered that scholarship to Williams. So we definitely have some developments in that area. And next up is Loretto, 12-5, identical record to us. It's a pretty big game for us as we're coming off a loss on the road, and we get our first loss at home this season. So there is definitely not going to be dominance this year in Conference T. Now the big thing will be how high in the standings can we be at the end of the season? Are we going to be in any sort of contention for promotion at least? Boiling Springs on the road, they are just 7-11. I'd really like to get a bounce back win here after 2 straight losses, and we do, 13-6 now. Next up we'll have Coppin State at home at 7-12. That should be a win.
You have new mail.
Collins really turned it on. He's up to 5.7 assists per game now. All right, now that interest level actually held this time finally for Blevins. Now it's just Drexler. We're going to scout Davis. We're going to scout Williams. And we'll scout Hansen this week. And watch film on all the rest. Okay, and then that call list down to 9,000. It's all those scouting games live and guys that are all from Washington for the most part. I've only got 3 players left on the list, and Perry's the only one that I've gone to watch. McCutcheon and Smith are both point guards, and I already have my point guard, so I haven't bothered. Okay, so after offering the scholarship to Williams, his interest has remained low, and we've remained outside of the top 10. But we didn't lose the interest, so there's still some interest there. So that's at least something. SAT scores are in. I hadn't looked at that before. I better take a look at that for everybody now. Make sure that everyone qualifies. We're still second on Hansen's list. Scales remains at 4th again this week. Ooh, Matic just barely qualifies. 960 is the school minimum. And we are 3rd on Perry's list. So everybody does qualify to attend the school, so no issues there. All right, taking a quick look at the schedule to see where we're at. We still have quite a few games left. Just 3 road games remain, though, so that is certainly helpful. And like Abilene Christian, we've already seen is struggling this season. Let's see. Gulf Coast might be tough. They're 500 school, and Chicago State, they're just 7-12, but they are 500 in conference. But we've got Coppin State left. That should be a win. Northern Arizona's 500 school, but we're at home. There's Seattle U, once again, a tough opponent. They got a high RPI. They're 15-4 and 7-1 in conference. So that'll be a really tough game, but it's a home game. South Alabama should be beatable, and North Fairfield, who we've already beaten, we'll have again on the final day. So Seattle U and, say, Florida Gulf Coast are our toughest games left on the season. If you say 2 losses, I'd be pretty happy with that. That's 3, 6, 8 games. 6-2 over the final 8 games would be a pretty solid record, and that would put us at 11-5 in conference. That could certainly place us in the top 3. I haven't looked at the standings yet, but let's do that after this week. So Coppin State, we do get the win there. We're at 6-3 now. Chicago State is next. This is one of those tougher games, not guaranteed. Just because it's one of those 3 road games, even though it's one of the easier opponents. As we move into February. That's why the autosave there. Come on, guys. Come on. Pull it out. Pull it out. Make sure. Let's get this win. Yes. Okay. 15, 6, 7, and 3 in conference. Northern Arizona at home. They are just under 500, so we should definitely win that. I mean, we've had 6 losses this year in all, and 4 or 5 of them have definitely been tougher teams. So, like the Portland State game on the road, yeah, that probably was a more winnable game. There might have been one other, but I think overall,
you have new mail.
Just 4 losses is a good thing, and I see something in the mail that's going to be big for us. Let's see, Northern Candidates, Winston-Salem, that's North Carolina Tar Heels, I want to say, yeah. Has the top player, my alma mater, Oregon Ducks. Their small forward, Blake Egan's, is 15th on the list. And here we go. Coach, I just wanted to let you know that I've made my decision, and I've chosen your school. I look forward to playing for you in the near future, Damian Hansen. So the number 293 recruit, power forward Damian Hansen, finally has given that verbal agreement that I've long been awaiting, hoping for. Was a little nervous that whoever it was that was the one spot above him, above us on the list, would have been who he ended up signing with, but we did get Hansen in the end, so that's our second recruit. Both of the other scholarships are out on offer right now, so hopefully we can get something out of that. Alrighty, so let's head to the standings, as promised. Okay, so where are we? We are 4th in conference right now, actually in a 3-way tie for second with Loretto and Seattle U. We lost to Seattle U, and we lost to Loretto. That was our home loss, our one home loss this year. What about Emmitsburg? I think that's all 3 of our losses, isn't it? Emmitsburg, Seattle, and Loretto. Let's look back at that schedule. Emmitsburg on the road. No, it was Utah Valley and Loretto. So we did beat we haven't played Seattle U yet. Okay. So Utah Valley State in overtime. Wow, look at that. 3 straight overtime games. Exciting. Jersey City, and then we pulled way ahead in overtime. 1-point loss to Utah Valley State in overtime on the road, and then just lost to Loretto at home. That was our one home loss. Back over to those standings. Utah Valley State, actually, they've only had 2 conference wins, so that was a tough loss. Yikes, that one kind of hurts. You take that one away, 8-2. We're right on top with Emmitsburg. We still have Seattle U to play, so that's going to be a massive game as we are neck and neck. And identical 15-6 overall records, so that would really separate us right now. They are only 3-4 on the road though. They've played 14 games at home this season already, and have now lost 2 straight. So Seattle U seems to be slipping down, and they're going to have a lot of road games to end the season. So with that kind of record, I could see Seattle U slipping down a little bit. But we're going to need to, lose only 1 or 2 max the rest of the way if we are going to have an automatic promotion this year. If we have just 1 loss the rest of the season, I'd say we're in with a shout, possibly, for the conference title. All right, well, let's get the next 2 going. Recruiting-wise, let's just call Drexler real quick. I've done so much scouting. I don't need to do any scouting. It's still evaluation. Nope. We still have a little bit of interest out of Blevins and Scales. Let's see, where are we on his list? 4th. How about Williams? Have we made it on his list yet? No. But the big news, we got Hansen. Okay, next up, Northern Arizona, home game. They are just 10-11. This absolutely should, the word is should, be a win, and it is. 8-3 in conference now. Okay, here's that big matchup. Oh, let's watch this one, huh? If I can. Stop the simulation. There you go. We're going to get Seattle 1 day from now. We're going to watch that game. 15-7, Seattle U. This is for our playoff and conference title dreams, really, on the line in this game, as it'll make a massive difference. It looks like Seattle actually dropped their last game, as we had identical records. So Seattle has already slipped one back. This would get them once again on par with us. So there's already an advantage. They're coming off a loss, coming off 3 straight losses, really. So Seattle U is going to be hurting for morale. This would be a great time to take advantage. All right, I will push fast through this game, though, because this was an unexpected stopping point, and I wanted to reach the end of the season. But I might slow it down late on if it's close, but we get off to a great start, 6-1 lead in the opening minutes, but they come right back. They drained a big 3 there to level the score. But we finally get our scoring going once again. Already 3 rebounds for Clifton Jennings. First time that the second unit comes on. We are down a little bit here, though, early on, and slipping a little further back as the starters come back into the game. Cedric Worley, 10 points, 5 boards on 5 of 6 shooting already. But we are still very much in this game, though we are down. Seattle U has definitely had my number here in recent seasons. Aki Collins, 8 points, 3 assists early on. So a good start for him. But we are down 6 at the half. So we're going to need a better second half if we are going to win this game. A lot of back and forth on the scoring right now. It seems to be no more than about 2 baskets in a row for either school. And here we go. We are down into that final 10 minutes. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. Right as we're getting a little bit of a run going, Clifton Jennings now has 10 points, 12 points. He grabs another. So Clifton Jennings, I think, had about 6 straight points for us in a row, and we're down just 2 points with 8 minutes to play. We've been trailing throughout this game, but are right back in here in the closing minutes. Aki Collins hasn't really done anything after that quick start, but he's only got 2 turnovers. Neely's grabbed 6 boards, but he's having a terrible day scoring with just 2 points. All right, here we go. Clifton Jennings, the star, is back on. He seems to be getting things done more than anybody else today. No scoring over the last 2 minutes, just 1 bucket for either team. Let's go ahead and use a 30 and see if we can't get something going scoring-wise, as time is running out. Just 3 minutes left, and we haven't scored since, the 8-minute mark? We haven't scored in the last 5 minutes. Ooh, big 3-point shot for Aaron Babel, who's one of the top players in the league. I remember seeing him on conference leaders list. And we are now down 7 with 2 minutes to play. Maybe use that timeout here. All right. Going to go ahead and use that timeout. We need something here. We need big. Chad Williams misses the jump shot, but makes 2 free throws after being fouled. And Babel drains another 3. That's a dagger in the heart right there. Just as we make the big play, they do it, and then Jennings gets his shot blocked at the other end. And they go 1 for 2 from the free throw line, but down 8, down 9. We have one timeout left. I'm going to need to use that here. When given the chance, it looks like we are not going to win this game. 38 seconds. Rebound there from Marcus Lowe, at least. After he blocks the shot. Nice job there. And Neely does make the two. And Davis turns the ball over. We've got a slight chance here, 7 seconds. We're going to need a big three here to have any sort of shot. And Chad Williams misses the three as he was in late, 0 for 7 shooting when he is supposed to be kind of our best scorer, certainly our sixth man coming off the bench. Clifton Jennings missed both of his shots down the stretch as well. So a lot of misses late on in that game led to that loss. So Seattle U continues to have our number. If I look at, let's see, team history, conference. Here's historical wins and losses. Seattle U, we are 0-5 against them. We've still never beaten Seattle U. Abilene Christian has been a nice battle for us. We've won the last couple to pull ahead in that series, 4-2. North Dakota is another one we've had a challenge with, but at least we've had a couple wins. It's Seattle U who's really, really been our nemesis. And that loss, that definitely hurt. At 8-4 now, we are level with Seattle and Loretto once again, and Emmitsburg one game ahead once again. So we're at 1-1 this week. We've matched each of the top 4 teams. All right, next up is Florida Gulf Coast on the road. And this is a must-win. They are just 11-12. It's a road game. We've only got one more road game left after this on the season, and we're really going to need these wins if we're going to get that automatic promotion.
You have new mail.
Okay, semifinalists, looks like no change other than I see Egan's moved up one spot, but otherwise those guys are all looking the same. I think there was a swap here at second and third. Looking at the top 25, Oklahoma right now is ranked number 1 with Notre Dame second. UConn is third. All right, we're going to get straight to that game. Recruiting can wait. There's not much to do besides trying to call Drexler and generate that little bit of interest in him. Otherwise, everything else is kind of set in stone at the moment, so I'll just let that one go. Please tell me that was a win. I believe it was. No, we were 8-4. We lost that game. That was a loss, and Abilene Christian on the road now, so 2 straight losses there. That's a big dagger. This game is a must-win. And it's a loss. So we've dropped 3 straight games, and that's about gonna shut things down for this season. Our only hope at this point is winning the conference tournament. I think we're going to miss out on automatic promotion this year. I don't know exactly what the other teams in the top 4 did, but I would imagine we are down to 4th or 5th place in the league at this point. Let's take a quick look, and sure enough, we've slipped all the way down to 6th at this point. And are 2 games behind Seattle and Emmitsburg. Just one back of a top 3, though, so there's a small chance. And every game the rest of the way should be home, but what is the rest of the way? 3, 4 games left? Just 2. 2 games left, both at home, both very winnable games. South Alabama and Fairfield are both 9-16. So yes, we're going to win these last 2 games, and it's not completely over. But with 3 straight losses, the Abilene Christian loss was in overtime, but that Florida Gulf Coast loss hurt, and that Seattle one hurt a lot. And going back, that Utah Valley State, those games have decided the season for us. Looks like we might be playing again in Conference T next year, but with 2 games left in the regular season, we have a tiny chance. It's going to require help, though. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't win both of these games to get to 18-9, but I don't see how we're going to move from 6th to 3rd with just 2 games left. We do get the first one, so 17-9 now. North Fairfield is up next. We've already beat them once this season on the road. We get them at home this time around. Today's the day of the game. Should see that update here in just a moment. And yes, we get the win. 18-9, 10-6 conference record this year. So not a bad record by any means. After 2 straight promotions, things are going to just naturally get more challenging. And it certainly has. Our RPI is pretty solid, 81 going into this week. That'll update again here once the week concludes. And after winning both games, it should go up slightly. Excuse me. So a high RPI, a pretty good record with 18-9. But it looks like we are not going to be promoted this year. But here's that quick chance to check the standings and see what has transpired. And yeah, we do move up to a 3-way tie at 10-6, but they have us at the bottom of the list. We do have the best overall record of the 3, but that's not what they use to determine whether you are promoted or not. So just based on where we're sitting, even though we have the highest RPI in the whole conference, actually, nice 12-2 record. Seattle was 15-2 at home, so they had 3 games at home more than we did. They benefited from that, but they also benefited from beating us. Had we won that game head-to-head, we would be 11-5, they would be 10-6, and we would be in that automatic promotion spot. So, hey, it's not their schedule. We had the chance to beat them. We did not. That's on us. That's on me. So, tied for 3rd. Could we be promoted? I don't know. I won't know until after the season's done. So let's just push through that conference tournament. I'm not going to be able to watch any games. I am out of time for this episode. But while I thought it was going to be settled, it's not. So with that, I'm just going to have to sim right on through the conference tournament. It looks like we're getting South Alabama at home here in our first game. We are heading into March, so we are getting the quick autosave here. Will there be any madness? I don't think there will be for us at the NCAA tournament, because that's going to require winning the conference tournament. We do win that game as we go to 19-9 on the season now, and we win that game against, I think it was Loretto. And we beat Emmetsburg. We've got Coppin State coming up next, presumably for the conference title.
You have new mail.
And I couldn't stop it in time. It looks like it went through that game as well. And there we are, 22-9. I think we just won the conference tournament, did we not? We beat, that was barely a win, 74-70. We bounced back there. Loretta, we beat 89-79 comfortably. Emmitsburg, 68-58. That was the top teams in the conference. And Coppin State, we beat by 16 points in what I believe was the conference championship. We just flew right through that, and we won the conference. Well, dang. That was unexpected, but certainly welcome. That should have just picked up an automatic promotion. The top 3 teams, and we're 22-9, identical record to last year, actually. And we'll see if that results in an NCAA bid for the conference win. I think it will. I think it might. I think we just won the conference tournament, and we certainly won 15 plus games. Yeah, look at that. We're here. Other than those 4 teams that didn't qualify, everybody's taken a loss, which means yes, we just won the conference tournament. Awesome. All right, well, let's see what happens here next, as we should be getting selection show. So, getting a little bit of an extended episode here. Other tournaments still ongoing. Ours seems to have wrapped up a bit earlier than most of the other conferences. That's the end of the week, probably meaning we're now at Selection Sunday. Oh, maybe not. Taking a quick look at recruiting, Williams and Scales are my guys left beside Hansen. Scales, we are 5th on his list now, which is actually down a spot. Let's go ahead and call Drexler. Oh, now he's wanting to hear from us. We've already got everything on him, so we'll just kind of click through. Da-da-da-da. I don't do bribes. Alright, and none of those guys have signed anywhere else. Let's get back to the season. Where's this Selection Sunday? There you go. Here's the selection show. Okay, nobody declared for the draft. The finalist for Player of the Year, still the North Carolina player. And it's time for the selection show. Let's go ahead and watch it.
You have new mail.
Okay, that's playing game, right? A lot of schools I'm not sure here based on, but here we go. So the play-in winners. So those were the play-in games. So we're not going to be a play-in game. That's a big one. We didn't get there last time. So a 1 seed goes to Notre Dame. Maryland is a 2 seed here. And this is the Charlotte region. Okay, on to the Minneapolis region. And Oklahoma is the 1 seed there. Indiana's the 2 seed. Syracuse, a 3 seed. Stanford and Washington, 2 Pac-12 teams faced up against each other, but of course that's we don't have the regular conference. They have identical 19-10 records. There's Florida State, USC, and in the New Orleans region, you've got UConn as the number 1 seed. And there we are. Hey, we are in. We are a 15 seed. Which means we're improving. We went from a 16th seed play-in a couple seasons back, or a few seasons back, and this time we are solidly a 15 seed with a 22-9 record, and we are playing Florida, who are 20-9 on the season, and the number 2 seed here in New Orleans. All right, I'm gonna speed through here to the end. We've got one more game to watch to wrap up the season and the episode. Arkansas is the other 1 seed in the Albuquerque Southwest region. All right, we're going to get straight to it. CBI, Seattle, and Emmitsburg both get there and are playing each other. And in the CIT tournament, Loretto is taking on Navy. All right, we all know what's going to happen with the Florida game. I'm just going to have to show you the score because I'm way over time for this episode, so I'm not going to have a chance to sit through it. Okay, I'll just speed through it 10. Speed through it 10. We'll take that couple more minutes in the episode, even though I'm way over on time. So we get the Florida Gators, also known as the Crocodiles here. So speed 10, and away we go. Now this is probably going to be a heavy loss, but we at least get one lead, and lead for over 2 minutes. And we actually got the lead back. We're back and forth here through the first 5 minutes of the game, and lead 9-7. So Marcus Lowe's got 5 quick points, 2 of 3 shooting through our first rotation of minutes, but they begin to pull ahead now. Following that is they got a bit of a run going. We've had 3 3-pointers so far in the game and trailed by just 2 points there at one point. Yeah, 23-21 with about 8 minutes left in the first half. Just 3 points now with 5 minutes to go. 1 point. Hey, we are actually in this game against the number 2 seed Florida Gators and have a lead there momentarily with just 2 minutes to go in the half. Chad Williams doing well in the scoring department this time out. He's got 13 points already. Back into our starting group with a bit more balanced scoring there. See a number of guys with between 5 and 8 points. And well into the second half, we're starting to see Florida stretch the lead just a little bit, but we're trying to keep pace with them. Down 9 points now, down 11. This is a great time for a timeout. So down 8, 54-46 with 10 minutes to play. At least we are playing well. And getting back into it, we got within 4 points there for a moment. 3 points now. We're hanging in there. So we've got a pretty solid team this year. It shows. They see us not as a very high rank coming from such a low conference, but final 30 seconds, down 9. Final score 69-62. We certainly were competitive. That was a good thing. We out-rebounded them slightly. Turnovers were bad for us, though, 20-12. But we shot identical from the field and had 8 3-pointers while I had just 1. So that was huge for us. But the free throws were big. We were just 6 of 14 from the line, while they were 16 of 28. That's a 10-point difference. That's more than the gap right there. So that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So tune in next time, and we'll see what happens in the season coming up. Bye for now.